Hello everyone, today we'll be looking at the newest permanent addition to Genshin Impact, the Genius Invocation trading card game. We're going to cover everything from how to gain experience and unlocking features to learning the foundations of strong deck building. So, let us begin. XP is what you'll need to unlock most of the important features in this game mode, such as weeklies, matchmaking, and unlocking more characters. The first thing you'll want to do after unlocking the game mode, by talking to Sucrose and Mondstadt and completing that questline, is to fight all the NPCs that are available to you so that you can collect XP and lucky coins to build your decks. This is usually done in 3 ways. The first and most common way to combat NPCs in the beginning is by using your Casket of Tombs gadget to locate available NPCs and fighting them. An important thing to note is that the NPCs have 3 challenge objectives, and you'll want to complete all of them to receive the most amount of lucky coins along with the XP from defeating them. While fighting these NPCs, they'll usually give you their support cards to help build more decks, and you can only obtain certain cards through beating them. The second and weekly refreshable way of fighting them is through guest challenges at the Cat's Tail and Mondstadt. You can teleport to this location or just enter and exit through the door. Once you're in the tavern, you'll have another button at the top right of your screen which will bring up the TCG Player's Manual and your guest challenges. You'll want to level up to level 4 as quickly as possible to gain as much XP and lucky coins from these weekly refreshes, as you can only battle a fewer number of characters before hitting level 4. The last and least common way you are able to fight NPCs is through duels. It is currently the least common way to find an NPC, as most of them are unlocked at player level 10, although you can still duel Shuto and Buyan at level 4. I really wonder what this battle is going to be like. After you finish the first Ascension challenge and become level 3, you will unlock Tavern challenges. These are the boss battles of this game mode, and you will face a stronger version of the monster card displayed in order to receive the monster character card. Upon reaching level 4, you have more NPCs and unlock the matchmaking mode to fight against other players. Mihail, please make a ranked version of this, please. I don't care if there are no rewards, just give me a ranked version of Genius. To open the menu to build a deck, you have to use your Casket of Tombs gadget. Once we're in there, you'll be able to see all the slots to edit, make, rename, etc. with the decks. You must have 3 character cards and 30 action cards such as equipment, support, and event cards. The character cards are what your deck should be built around since they're the only cards that deal damage, and you can only obtain character cards by inviting them from the cat billboard to the left of Prince. Once you have been the character for the card you want at the billboard, if you completed all of the 3 challenge objectives, you will get 2 talent cards for the character, either boosting their elemental skill or their elemental burst. It can only be added to the deck if the character is also in the deck. Equipment cards are split into 3 categories: talents, weapons, or artifacts. They can be attached to characters to give them buffs, and only one of each type of equipment card can be attached to a character at once. Support cards are cards that can be placed to the left of your characters and will provide something to either your characters or your hand by either drawing cards, buffing your characters, or giving you more dice to play with. Event cards are cards that can be used conditionally and are often used to control the tempo of the game, which have special conditions of having 2 of the same element or type of character cards. These also include food, which can be used to directly buff or heal your characters for 1 round. Now that you know the basics of deck building, you should probably know how to actually play the game. In a PvP match, the coin will flip determining the player who goes first in a round of the game. In PvE, the player always goes first. You then select which 5 cards you want to keep in your hand, and if you wish to remove any, it gives you new ones from your deck. In other card games, this is known as a mulligan, and you want to have the best starting hand possible to keep up the tempo of the game. Based upon the mulligan, you can choose which character you want to have as your active character to provide the best opener. Then begins the rolling phase, where 8 dice are rolled on your screen and you are given a chance to reroll. To reroll, simply choose the dice you want to reroll and press reroll. This does come with a lot of nuances, as there are ways to manipulate your dice rolls with action cards. If you also want to play a certain equipment card that requires 3 of the same element, and you have 3 that aren't of your active character, but are the same, it might be better to just keep the set of 3 of them and use them for the action card. After the rolling phase, you can play the action phase of the round. It is recommended that if you can draw cards, and your plan for the round allows for an extra dice, to draw at the beginning of the round, as it opens more options to your play. Quick actions are actions that don't take up your turn in the round and are good for preparing the next round and changing the tempo of your board. Your turn can only be ended by requesting an end to the round, using an attack, or switching characters. Although there are some action cards like Catherine that can make switching characters to quick action. You can only request to end the round on your turn, and whoever requests to end the round first plays the next round first. Usually a game is less than 6 rounds long, but there can be exceptions to it. So I'm not going to cover meta decks and which decks I think are strong, because that'll probably change a lot in the future, as all the theory crafters in the community will probably change the meta at least 4 iterations before settling on one, or yo-yo updates the game mode with the balance change or more characters. Instead, we're just going to focus on the basics and the foundations of deck building. Deck building foundations in this game are really obscure because of the elemental system, which brings more diversity to deck creation and theory crafting, but fundamentally I think there are 4 components to making a good deck: tempo, potency, control, and flexibility. Tempo is simply how fast your deck can reach a lethal potency. This can usually be determined by the average cost of your cards, but is also affected by how fast you can draw your cards to be played out. Fast tempo decks that tend to spam attacks in the early stages of the game are meant to end the game quickly and be considered smork decks. While most mid-range decks are usually focused around controlling your scaling while building elemental bursts, and scaling decks are focused around outliving your opponents while also gaining power to overpower your opponent in the later stages of the game. Based on how the game plays out, the most common and generally powerful types of decks are the early and mid-range decks, as they can also scale in the early game, since you don't really get more moves to play in the late stages of the game as compared to the early stages of the game. That's gonna be all I have for this guide to Genius Invocation. I highly recommend you check it out, at least for the primos, and enjoy it at your own pace. If there's anything I missed out that you think I should have put in the video, leave it down in the comments and hopefully I can respond to it. See ya! Oh, you please add a rank system to this game.